This three-bean casserole is dumb.
I'm so sorry, babe. I hadn't tasted him yet.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Looking forward to, you know. Like,
don't talk about the ingredients. I know. Yeah.
After, it's just a surprise for your mouth.
yeah.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. There's a big movie out of Warner Brothers, the new Suicide Squad by James Gunn. It's getting a lot of buzz out there, being released in theaters and on HBO Max this week. Decided to give it a gander, do a little a movie review this week. With us for the first time on the channel is Stephanie from My Nerdy Home. How you doing, Steph?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad you could make it. It's nice to have a fellow DC fan here on the channel to talk about this. With this, many people will know is the man behind Darkwing Duck, contributor to the Comic Writing 101 streams, gonna be at Bell County Comic Con this weekend. Aaron Sparrow, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
So if people weren't expecting there's going to be a little added bonus. If you weren't planning on going to Bell County and you have a chance, you will get to see Aaron Sparrow. Maybe get a little Darkwing doodle in your book.
I'm gonna have comics. I'll have comics. I'll have prints. I'll sign your fleshy foreheads, like whatever it is that you want. Come on and see me.
Absolutely. So we've got James Gunn's Suicide Squad. It's kind of a strange thing here, Steph, because it's a reboot, but they recast 3 of the original cast members from the original one from David Ayer. That there's been so much controversy around. Not a very good movie, at least the original one. This one's a lot more fun, and I think the casting was good. They brought back the right characters, and they had a lot more ensemble to it. It felt very much in the spirit of Guardians of the Galaxy, with a hard R and an enormous amount of violence.
Yeah, well, I have to say this first, #release the Ayer cut, because that was the original Suicide Squad. The Studio Squad is just a hack job of a movie. So I'm saying that first, release the Ayer cut. I'm sure it's really good. I like that the directors are very supportive of each other, despite Twitter trying to get them to go against each other. But David Ayer is very much supportive of James Gunn during this movie, which is really, really good. Yes, this movie was a wild ride. I enjoyed it. I go to the movies for escapism, and that is what I got during this movie. It keeps you on your toes for sure, with going back and forth. So it does keep you on your toes. And the characters that they brought back from Suicide Squad they're really good. I enjoyed the ones that they brought back. I don't think that they recast anybody though.
They replaced characters.
Yeah. Bloodsport kind of felt like Deadshot, but obviously it was a new version of the characters. It's kind of the standard for it.
I enjoyed the dynamic between him and his daughter, how it was kind of opposite of the one between Will Smith and his daughter, Deadshot and his daughter. Because they were a loving relationship, counted on each other, and these two were just like, fuck you, no, fuck you. That was pretty funny. So I liked the opposite dynamic between the two. So that was really good. Yeah.
All right, Aaron, what are your general thoughts on the Suicide Squad? Do you recommend it? Do you like it?
Yeah, I'd give it a recommend. I see that there's some people that were like, this is the worst DCEU movie ever, and
no,
right? I don't get it.
No, not when Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 84 are out there. Like, no, I don't think it's the worst one ever made.
Yeah, I feel like this was an apology for Birds of Prey for me.
For sure. On Harley Quinn's part, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the
She's
best
much better in this one because there's a little bit less of her, Aaron. Mm-hmm. And so with less Harley out there, when she's on there, she's much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I think she's better written. I think it's the best version of Harley that we've gotten on screen, live action. I think that it really delivers a lot. It makes her more fun, and kind of really gives Margot Robbie a chance to shine without like putting a lot of weight on her. I really liked her inclusion. I was glad to see Jai Courtney back, which I don't think that most of the projects Jai Courtney is involved in really serve him, but the role of Captain Boomerang really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terminator.
I can't believe how much I enjoy him in these in this role in particular. But he really plays it up. And then even some of the bit players like Michael Rooker, some your James Gunn regulars, they all have their chance to be interesting.
I don't like Pete Davidson, so I like the way James Gunn used him.
I agree.
Someone else said that too. They're like, I'm glad he wasn't there.
He's like the first one murdered.
Yes. Someone else said that too. They're like, I was really worried he's going to be in the entire movie. Someone else said that too.
Put my mind at ease as soon as that happened. So
yeah, me
there
too.
are a few things.
Like, oh, man, am I going to have to watch Pete Davidson?
that kind of stand out to me, Aaron. That I really enjoyed. I actually kind of like Peacemaker, especially at the time when they're like, I thought you wanted peace. And he's like, I love peace so much, I will kill every man, woman, and child that stands in the way of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
that was a good line.
He's a deranged Captain America. I personally, I don't really enjoy John Cena outside of wrestling. And even in wrestling, it was kind of like, oh, okay, he's kind of going overboard here. Let's too much of John Cena. But I don't really enjoy him too much outside of wrestling. But in this part, I thought he did pretty good. Like, I'm a huge Fast and Furious fan, even though a lot of people aren't. And I didn't necessarily like him in the newest movie. But here, I thought he did so good. Like, it's a character acting, right? You're just going, let's just go overboard with it. And that's exactly what he did. And I really enjoyed him in that role. He's just a deranged Captain America. I absolutely loved it. I loved it.
I love his delivery of the line too when he and Bloodsport are going back and forth about eating all the bags of dicks on on the beach.
Yeah.
And Ratcatcher says, why would someone put penises all over the beach? And the way he delivers, like, who knows why madmen do what they do?
Who knows what madmen do what they do? Oh yeah, that broke me. That was so funny. Yeah.
If it was in the name of peace, I'd gladly eat them all. Like, oh.
Yeah. I'd gladly eat a beach full of dicks.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was so funny.
Well, it was definitely a James Gunn movie without the filter, which you certainly get with Guardians of the Galaxy. That's certainly more for a family audience, although not completely. So this is like, I don't know, what's that movie he did? Was it Super? The really deranged superhero movie?
Mm-hmm.
This is more on that edge to me, as far as the jokes and the things the gags that he was including in the movie.
Yeah, for sure. But it was done so well, though. I got it. It was a little jarring for me, going back and forth, because it's not one cohesive story. We go in, they recruit Michael Rooker's character, and then Savant. Okay, let me just side note here. When they introduce Savant, we're going full spoilers, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're watching this, you should have already seen it.
It's going to be on the thumbnail.
Okay, perfect. When they introduce Savant, they make it seem like, oh, he's this hard ass. He kills like this tiny little bird just to do it. He saves Weasel, and he calls everybody amateurs. And he's just like the first one to scream and retreat and get his head blown off. That just killed me. I was just like, because I'm waiting for him to do something, right? Because he's just like, amateurs. Like, okay, let's see what you can do. And he's just watching everybody just die. And he just starts screaming and running away. And I was just like, that's perfect. That's perfect. And then, the whole lettering with his blood and brains is just...
There was a lot of that in this movie as far as transitions there. And I know you're a writer. I thought the transitions, for the most part, were pretty clever.
I thought so, too. Actually, I was watching it with my friend Marie, and she also really enjoyed it. But she said, like, that first one that they did with, like, the blood, and she goes, oh, there's something I haven't seen before. Like, I'm already impressed. And what I sold her on with this, because she did not like the original, I sold her on this. I was like, well, you like Guardians, right? And she was like, yeah, I love the Guardians movies. I'm like, same guy, so should be good. Yeah. And I do think he delivered. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. If you're like a hardcore, like, dark edged DC fan, you like the Zack Snyder films, and that's really what you think every DC movie should be, then yeah, you might not enjoy this, because it is, it still does have a very dark edge, and it's a very much a dark.
It's not nearly as serious.
Yeah, but it's definitely a comedy. It's definitely got a lot of humor in it.
A lot of
I don't
gags.
think it's to the detriment of the story. Like, I think maybe some of the bits in Thor Ragnarok, took you away from the gravity of the story that was being told there. So
there are a couple of points where it does kind of take you out of it.
The transitions, I think I agree with you, when they would do the little time skips. it would kind of take away the momentum
Yeah.
that they had kind of built and make me reset. And so I didn't really enjoy that because I wanted, in this case, I kind of wanted a more.
We got two
story.
beginnings that bothered me.
Yeah. So that's one of my big drawbacks from this, but it didn't ruin my enjoyment of the film overall.
Yeah, same here. It didn't ruin my enjoyment of the film. That's just one of the, I want to say one of my like critiques, the things that I didn't like about the movie, where it just goes back and forth, you know, and then like when it's like now written on the beach, and I was kind of like, all right, okay. Did you not think that we were gonna not know that we're back in present time, like now? So it's that I didn't really enjoy. Also, I thought that the what is the word I'm looking for? Over dramatization of Ratcatcher 2, her backstory. While it's beautiful, the way they did it with like going on the bus and the music behind it, it just seemed over dramatized. Same thing a little bit with Polka Dot Man. It was just like, oh, this happened and my father did this, and it was just a little overdone a little bit, but I think that it was meant to be that way. I don't know. But that was just like a little, I was just like, okay, that's a little overboard, but sure.
Yeah, it didn't really fit tonally what they were doing for the rest of the movie, so it kind of like, it's a little jarring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do think it bonded the characters better than what we got in the studio. And I'm gonna agree with you. The studio hack job on the original Suicide Squad, where they're in the bar, and then all of a sudden they're all bonded together because they had a drink together like one time. Like this builds it a little bit.
Well, and that's
the
what
fire guy gives us a story away about how he killed his family.
Yeah.
Isn't that
and then like at the
moment?
end he's like, I'm not losing another family, and I'm like, you've known these people for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And most of them
what are you, Dom from Fast and the Furious?
Family. Yeah, the backstories to everybody was really good, especially the ones that didn't die in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And you really felt for them, especially the Ratcatcher 2 and Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man was so good.
This was such a weird actor. He was the perfect choice for that character.
Yes, yeah, completely. Yeah,
I was super glad to see him get like a big role and really like be able to shine, because you've seen him in like The Dark Knight. Everybody knows his face. He's been on Gotham.
He's in Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, a lot of DC.
Was he in Ant-Man?
He was on the team that works for Ant-Man's best buddy, right? One of the
That's right. You're absolutely
guys.
Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I remember him from that one. So yeah, there was some pretty good casting. I thought Sylvester Stallone as the voice of King Shark was pretty good. Much better than when we get in the Flash TV series.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I think King Shark was supposed to stand out as like a Drax level, like weird character that you were supposed to kind of bond with. I didn't feel quite that much for the character stuff. I thought he was funny and was interesting, but I didn't fall for him like I did for Drax or Rocket. I
did for sure. I was just like, by the end of the movie, I want to be Ratcatcher 2 and give him a big hug. I was worried for him, when he fell, and when those little tiny creatures were getting on him, he saw all his blood. I was just like, oh no, not, because he's a little simpleton, and you have like those, I don't know, maybe it's just me being a girl. I'm just like, oh, he's like a child. It's adorable. When you first meet him, he's reading a book upside down, and he's just like, me smart, I'm reading. He's trying to impress them, and he wants to be he really wants to be a part of the team, especially when they tell him like, we're your friends, and he's just like, I want to wear a disguise too. I'll have a mustache. I really felt for him. I wanted to be Ratcatcher too and just give him a big hug, even though he ripped me in half afterwards. I didn't care.
Not of yours.
I enjoyed him.
No, I really liked him. I'm with Steph on this one. I really did bond with him. I was like, oh, he's a big monster and he eats people, but it's not his fault. It's just part of the food chain. He's a big shark man. Of course he's gonna eat people. But he does have a heart. He's got a heart of gold. So I really liked the character. I really liked what they did with him, even though it was kind of a departure from a big departure from comic King Shark. I thought that it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a good decision. It was a good decision for the film. Marie loved him. I think he's the Build-A-Figure in the Suicide Squad toy wave. So I think a lot of people are going to buy that wave just to build King Shark.
Oh, as soon as I was out, I was just like, I hope that there's a King Shark action figure because I will scoop that right up.
You got to buy all the Suicide Squad to build him, Steph. That's how
they get
how they
wow. Get you. They knew.
No.
It's what Disney should have done with Baby Yoda.
Hopefully he'll have a statue, his own statue. I'll buy a statue. Because I don't want the whole Suicide Squad. I just want a King Shark.
So speaking of things we kind of liked, I haven't really liked Harley Quinn. We mentioned that, but there was a moment in here where she's on the beach with like Javelin Man, and he's like saying her final words, and it's like, "You were the only person worthy of my javelin," and he never finishes what he's supposed to say. I thought that was hilarious. She's like, "What am I gonna do with the javelin?" She's trying to wake him up, and she's got this javelin the whole time. I really like that part of how, kind of made the character more interesting, Aaron, rather than just a quit machine.
No, they like I said, they really did a good job with Harley Quinn. I understand that Paul Dini was very pleased with her portrayal in this. So I mean, what are you gonna do if the creator of the character loves it? You're probably on the right track. So I really loved what they did with her. I thought Margot Robbie did a really good job. There wasn't too much Harley. There was just enough. And what she did wasn't. I didn't find it to be ridiculous. Any more ridiculous than any of the other characters. I think with the first studio hack job. There was the problem with, they sell it on the fact that, what if Superman ripped the roof off the White House? We need a team to, to counter that. And I'm like, girl with a baseball bat. I don't know that. I mean, So yeah, I liked all the characters, and it made that, since we're in spoiler territory, it did kind of soften the blow of me losing Captain Boomerang right at the beginning, which was shocking for me because I thought
that was great. It sets the tone of the entire movie that anybody can die.
Yeah, no one's safe. I'm a huge Harley Quinn fan. I absolutely love Harley Quinn. I loved her in the first Suicide Squad movie, even though it was hacked to shit. She was like the best thing that came out of it. I did not enjoy Harley Quinn in Birds of Prey. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Which to me is kind of tells me that like she really shines when she's in like an ensemble. It's not a solo film type of a character as far as like movies go. But I do enjoy Margot Robbie in the role. There are some things with in this movie that I think could have been cut out, like the whole Presidente wanting to marry her. I thought it was kind of ridiculous. I was just like, I don't know. If it was just put in there to show, no, look, it did it better than Birds of Prey, showing that like I can move on. I've moved on from Mr. J, and I've moved on from Mr. J, and this is how I've grown. Did it a lot better than Birds of Prey. If that's why that was in the movie, just to show like how Harley's grown since the first Suicide Squad movie to now, then sure, yeah, that's good. I think that her escape scene was phenomenal. I loved it. It was what the police scene when she comes in with that beanbag gun in Birds of Prey. It's what that should have been. That scene is what that should have been. That it was a fantastic scene. She's a force to be reckoned with, really. How she escapes by choking the guy out and then taking the keys with her feet and showing like her gymnast skills and flexibility by undoing the lock. That was really neat too. I really enjoyed the escape scene. The only thing that I didn't enjoy during the escape scene was the flowers and the cartoon birds. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why it was in there.
I kind of liked it. Liked it because to me, it kind of like, it was that moment of kind of getting her worldview, like the way that she sees things is so skewed. That I was kind of like, oh, okay. And I got asked like, what's with the flowers? I don't get it. And I was like,
yeah, what's with the flowers? What's the birds? It did cross my mind that like, okay, well, she was being tortured before. So maybe she's just like really not all there. But then I'm like, but she's doing such precise killing with her gun. And I was just like, what is going on with the flowers?
It was her happy. She was in her happy place. She was in the zone.
I was just like, where's this coming from? It was so odd.
When they showed the world through Polka Dot Man's eyes, I thought that was one of the best gags in the entire movie. Everybody is his mom.
Yeah, and it makes it easier for him to kill people. because he wants to
his
kill
mom
his
was
mom.
a scientist, and she looked like the most trailer park white trash.
Oh man!
You know, like she'd be screaming at an employee in a Walmart, you know, somewhere.
I was expecting something different when he's like, I see everybody as my mom, and he described her as a scientist. I was thinking something, and then when they showed the team as his mom, I was just kind of like, that's what his mom looks like. Sure. Okay.
That was definitely one of my favorite gags of the whole thing. So let's talk about some of the things that we don't think work. I do think, generally speaking, if this had come out before Guardians of the Galaxy and the MCU hadn't changed all their tone to Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it would have probably been even better. It would have wouldn't have been so familiar. You know, it would have been something a little bit more new. The other thing, I'm not sure that it completely works. I'm upset, Aaron. They now have a blueprint to make Squirrel Girl into a movie after Rat Chaser.
I mean, if they want to lose a bunch of money, I guess they could do that. If somebody's just got a bunch of money to burn, you know.
They made it effective. I was shocked.
In fairness, it does seem that Hollywood thinks that it does have money to burn. They keep repeating the same mistake over and over again, thinking that they're going to get a different result, and they keep giving fans things that fans don't want, and then complaining when the fans reject it, and calling the fans names. But it's like the thing that drives me insane is when it comes to comic book fans, it comes to pop culture fans, you know, people who love, you know, these cartoons and these, you know, comic book characters. We're very vocal. We tell you what we want. It's not hard. But what people do is they come in and they say, instead of saying like, okay, and this, you know, happened with Masters of the Universe Revelation, is instead of coming in and saying what kind of really great Masters of the Universe / He-Man stories can we tell, they said, how can we tell this story of female empowerment with He-Man?
Yeah, and mask it as a He-Man show.
Yeah, and mask it as a He-Man show. And you know, He-Man always had, you know, Teela was always there. Evelyn was always there. Even in the 2000 show, they were both very strong. They both had very strong backstories. They spent time with them, you know, in the episodes. And yeah, I agree that, you know, your characters like Evelyn and Teela can be more interesting than He-Man if you don't put the work into He-Man. But you can. There's a lot of things you can do with Adam in that dichotomy to make him, you know, interesting as well. And I think that when you're dealing with a big ensemble cast like that, you have to serve all the characters. You don't just get to narrow it down to say, these are the ones we're going to focus on. We're going to shuffle the main character to the side. You know, I don't agree with that. So, you know, for them to get this right, you know, for me, it was a film that I enjoyed. I didn't feel it was heavy-handed. I didn't feel like they were cramming in a bunch of messaging. You know, there's some female empowerment in there. I have no problem with that because it was done in a way that served the story. They didn't beat you over the head with it. Even America's involvement in the Starro plot, I didn't feel was like an anti-American sentiment, because you can go through America's history and the government has done all kinds of shady things. They're doing shady things right now, you know, right out in the open. So, you know, monitoring people's social media and telling social media what to censor. You know, there's all kinds of totalitarian things that are going on. So yeah, the government gets up to all kinds of things. So I don't, you know, I'm not going to define that plot point as being woke. You know, some people are complaining about it. I
don't think it was.
Yeah, I see when they sent them on the mission. That's what they are doing. Like, oh, they got to burn this lab they have down before anybody figures out what they were doing. So when that reveal happened,
I mean, Amanda Waller is involved. You know that you're not getting the complete story. You know she's got a hidden agenda.
This movie really was Amanda Waller's movie. Because she had a hand in everything from the very beginning. And some people were upset, like, "Oh my gosh, the team just gets killed." It's like, well, no, it's Amanda Waller's. This is a distraction team. This is a diversion team. This is her real team over here.
Yeah, these are her Harley's team, and Rick Flag and Harley. They're her meat shield team.
Yes,
they were supposed to die.
They are supposed to die. They're expendable to her, which says something also about her relationship with both Rick Flag, you know, the fact that she's just like, oh, he's expendable, just let him die with the Z team, because I mean they're just expendable, as well as Harley. Like you're assuming that Boomerang and Harley, they've both been on countless missions, you know, especially Boomerang, the way he talks about, you know, everybody in the plane or the chopper. Were they in the chopper or the plane? I can't remember. Chopper. They're in a chopper.
Yeah.
The way he talks about, like, oh, everybody, here we go, we're gonna all die. Look, these are all the new people that are gonna die. You assume that they've been on multiple missions still, and so, you know, the fact that they've been doing all of this stuff and Rick Flag has been leading. It doesn't matter to her. It doesn't matter. One little bit here. We're gonna put you on the expendable team. You guys can die if you die. Oh well. I really don't care.
She didn't want to release him anyway. It's time to kill these guys.
She's not going to release him anyway. She doesn't really care. This was Amanda Waller's movie, and Viola Davis. That's her name. I can never get actors and actresses' names correct.
I'm good at it. I'll fill in the gaps.
Oh, I'm horrible at it.
I'll be that part of
I have to look it up. I have the IMDb pulled up right now because I'm horrible with actors and actresses' names. But Viola Davis, whereas in the last movie, she was her character was used as like expositionally. In this movie, she's in it. She is in it, and it's like a standout character. You actually hate her character along with the people that work with her. You hate her character. You can't believe what she's doing. You can't.
Did anyone else get a Cabin in the Woods feel about her and her team that are monitoring this all off and having like getting pizzas and making bets while everybody's dying?
Making bets, yeah. Yeah.
It's like feels very much like Cabin in the Woods, which is another movie I enjoyed quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film. I definitely got that vibe.
Okay, good.
She was excellent in this movie, and it wasn't. You're absolutely right, Aaron. It wasn't woke. I really didn't get any woke. Now I was just like, this is awesome. There's a movie. It's here to entertain me, and there's no preaching. There's no messaging, which is really why Birds of Prey just didn't work. It didn't work. It was it was pitched as being an anti-Trump movie, and very a feminist movie, and you can tell in that movie. You can tell there's an agenda. With He-Man, there's an agenda as well, whether Kevin Smith wants to admit it or not. And that's really what cinema right now is. You're absolutely correct. They keep pushing out things that they think we want to see, or they make while strong female characters are already there. They're already there. They're already written on the page, just page to screen. That's all you have to do. But they're not written how they want the characters to be written, how they want to tell the story through the eyes of this character. And with this movie, there's really none of that. It's just purely story driven. It's a very basic plot that moves the story along. The characters act how I feel like they're supposed to act given any situation, and it was really enjoyable. It was an enjoyable movie.
So we do have to talk about Starro, who's one of the odder villains in all the DC universe. It obviously ends up being the big bad after, I guess we'll say it, the big turn by Peacemaker, and he kills Rick Flag. Didn't see that coming, and then Peacemaker
I didn't either. That
himself
actually kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, no, I thought that they were because it was John Cena, and because
he's got a TV show for Peacemaker after this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now I'm wondering if that's really happening, or if that was just a smokescreen
to ruse?
like, hide the twist.
I think it's really happening. They have what's his name? Robert Patrick cast to play his dad.
Oh, cool! I like Robert.
Excellent casting,
choice, actually.
Excellent casting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure it's not smokescreen. It's gonna happen. But yeah, I was upset that Rick Flag died like that. I was just like, and by John Cena's character, I was like, no.
Because Rick Flag, he's turned. He's like, I know what Waller's been doing the whole time. I've had enough. They experimented on children. I'm getting the truth out there. Waller had a backup plan the entire time. It was Peacemaker. He was there to make sure Rick Flag did his job. Once there was a hint that he wasn't going to, he became himself expendable, and it's time to end him. So it makes sense. They certainly wiped out a lot of almost all the originals. We got Amanda Waller.
It seemed like they were going to go another way too with Peacemaker, because when they're in the bar, even when they're on the bus and everybody's kind of like telling their story, he doesn't tell his, but he's listening to everybody's, and you see it affecting him. You see him starting to appreciate them as people.
He makes sure the rat gets a beer or a drink.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
he gives the rat like a little nod. Like,
so you start to feel like he's coming around, and then he is to an extent, because he even when he's fighting Rick Flag, you can tell there's a part of him that's fighting himself. He's gonna go through with the mission, but he's fighting himself a little bit. And then even with Ratcatcher, that's where he kind of like he has another chance to do the right thing, but that's where he just turns to the dark side, and he basically is like, I'm thorough, and he's gonna kill Ratcatcher too. And that's
right. See, Rick Flag is really what Peacemaker thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
that's why it feels like he's just fighting himself. Because Rick Flag is what Peacemaker thinks he is. Whereas Peacemaker is really just blind patriotism. I'll do anything.
John Walker.
I'll do anything.
He's lost in his blind patriotism. He's lost his humanity, and he's lost his connection to what the ideals of the country actually should be.
Mm-hmm. And he's the perfect person for Amanda Waller to manipulate. If Rick Flag's not doing it, this is for a good cause. This is for America. This is for patriotism, and perfect person to manipulate and finish out the mission if it goes off course, because he thinks that he's doing it for liberty, for peace.
Yeah, and not only is he thorough, Amanda Waller's thorough. She's got to have all her bases covered, just in case anybody has a sliver of turning and doing the right thing. She's going to have that idea wiped out and covered. So I personally like that fit. I thought it was really effective. It made me hate Peacemaker a lot, and I think that was the point.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
And when we get to Starro, here's the problem I do have, Steph. Starro is like a Justice League, Green Lantern Corps level threat. There's no way the Suicide Squad could ever deal with that character. He's too powerful.
Yeah, he is too powerful. The introduction to Starro was very creepy, very eerie. I really liked that. The way they took him down and defeated him, no. I was just like, that was way too easy. That was way too easy.
I have an out for you.
No way. Okay.
I'm always doing the writing. Like I don't know. It's like I watch projects now, and I think to myself, if someone handed this off to me, and I had to address complaints or I had to address things like that, what would I do? And I think the real simple explanation, I think it is kind of buried in there, is that, there still is Starro out there, because Starro's he's everywhere. But this is one that they got there, that they captured, they've been experimenting on. It's probably gone insane by this point. It's not up to its full potential. And that's why it basically just becomes a kaiju that's like stomping around trying to take everything over. Yeah. It's still trying to fill out its base biological function, but it no longer has the ability to plan the way that Starro would normally. So therefore, being a Green Lantern and an entire Justice League level threat. So that's my out.
I don't buy it. They needed the Justice League and the Green Lantern to take that thing down. Starro's way too powerful. Always has been.
Yeah, that's a good out. But the first time we're seeing this character, especially as knowing the character of Starro, it's kind of like, nah, you're doing the writing for them now. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know.
Headcanon.
I can't help
it's
it.
It's headcanon, Aaron.
Headcanon. Total headcanon. I understand what you're saying, but it's kind of it still makes me feel like that was way too easy.
People who have no idea who Starro is and say that have no idea what the level of threat that they just had there. And I'm disappointed we didn't get to see Jarro. Come on, that was a great opportunity to introduce Starro's offspring that wants to be Robin. That loves Bruce Wayne. Such a great character. Like one of my favorite characters in DC that do nothing with that or nothing with anymore.
But we got Calendar Man.
Calendar Man was great. That was James Gunn's brother.
Yeah.
He's the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy that has
he did the mocap for Weasel too.
He did Weasel.
Yes.
Yeah, he did mocap Weasel.
Weasel, what a weird character. Perfect. It was so strange.
That was so odd. I love how Rick Flag is like, I think he's agreed to do this.
Is that a werewolf?
Not sure at all.
It's a werewolf. Yeah, he'll try to get away from it. There's a lot of funny gags in here. There are a ton of gags.
What does he say? Like, what kind of dog would that be? And Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, he's stupid.
My guess is Afghan Hound.
An Afghan Hound. They're like, really? You think that's a dog?
I have seen a lot of people say that this is like their new favorite DC EU film. Me personally, Shazam is still my favorite. I think that's the one that's captured the spirit of the character and what they represent the best as far as the DCU. And in Wonder Woman, the first one, is still number 2 for me. But this is really enjoyable. Certainly a better effort than we got with the first Suicide Squad. With just the ending of that movie just falls flat on its face. It was so terrible. But what is your thoughts, Steph? Does this go right into your number 1 slot, or is it more in the middle?
No, not at all. The fact that you said that it's right there with Shazam, that's where I would put this movie as well. It's on that enjoyability level, like the level of Shazam. I enjoyed it as much as I did Shazam. Shazam surprised me. I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, but it was really good. I'm looking forward to the next one. And that's where I would put this. As far as my enjoyment of the movie, it's right there with Shazam. It wouldn't break my top 3 movies because I enjoyed the universe that Zack Snyder was building. Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be my number 1 choice. Disappointed with Justice League, Joss Whedon's Justice League. I didn't enjoy that. I think that this was what they tried to do with the original Suicide Squad when they were just like, this is too dark. Guardians of the Galaxy just came out. Let's try and make this like Guardians of the Galaxy. This is what they tried to do with David Ayer's Suicide Squad movie, the original time that they tried to, cut it up and try to make it fun. Like, unlike the previous movies, this was like a totally different direction. As far as like the first Suicide Squad movie. So what they were trying to do originally is what the Suicide Squad is. So yeah, it's enjoyable. It was an enjoyable movie. It doesn't break my top 3. I really love Zack Snyder's Justice League. Wonder Woman, loved it. And I despite people not enjoying it, I really love BVS. So, I liked the whole universe that Zack Snyder set up. But this was really enjoyable. I enjoyed this movie. I had fun with it. I laughed. It has its faults, especially the villain. I didn't like how quickly they were able to take it out. I was like, okay, well, they have Polka Dot Man. I mean, they might be able. And then they just instantly I'm a superhero! And then he just dies.
As soon as he was happy.
Right, how are they going to take it out now? I mean, the way they just took him out was so easy. I didn't like that. It was...
it's better than the one lady doing this, though. For 45
it is better
minutes,
than
right?
that. Yeah, that's true.
Jeez, such a bad villain. It was just like crap spinning her up over her head.
It was supposed to be so different, though. Oh God, it kills me.
King Shark is so much better than Killer Croc with a normal sized body and a giant head, and I say that as somebody with a giant head. So. Yeah. I mean,
I'll give him Killer Croc was more practical effects, though.
It was.
He was, but they should have bulked up they could have bulked up his body. That actor's big, but he's also
with
got
the
a big
Shazam
head, so
suit.
you put the
muscle
prosthetics
suit?
on
Like the
him.
Shazam suit, yeah.
Yeah, they should have. It's like you're already covering his whole body in crocodile skin. Put some layers under it and make him bulkier so that it matches the size of his head with the prosthetics on.
He could have been way more intimidating. Yeah.
If you put prosthetics on my head, I would basically be MODOK. So you have to give me a padded suit to balance it out.
You'd be a Funko Pop.
So where would you put this movie, Aaron? Does it jump right to the top of the list as far as the DCEU?
I think it does. I think I agree with you. It's up there. I have trouble quantifying these things, but I think it's definitely up there with Shazam. I think I liked it better than Shazam, just because it fits more my sensibilities than Shazam.
I have a 6-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. Shazam fits my sensibilities. I couldn't watch this movie with the family. They're too little.
Well, I mean, you could, but it'd probably be a bad idea.
My son mimics everything I say. I can't imagine what would happen if he saw a shark cursing. You know what I mean? So.
He'd be walking around talking about, I would eat every dick for freedom.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. My goodness.
Hand over his mouth.
Oh no! If this movie, because the way the MCU is going right now, I don't think that a lot of people are excited for the direction of the MCU. If this movie was trying to be a cross between like we want to get some MCU fans over to check out some more of DC, I think they achieved that with this movie. I really do, because it does have like the MCU type feel of
yes,
with the MCU type humor there. So if they're trying to win over, some of the fans from the MCU and bring them over to DC, maybe get a little bit of that audience, I think they're going to achieve that with this movie.
What's weird, Steph, is like the Batman, which will be the next really big one, not connected to any of this. It's in its own Elseworlds. Mm-hmm. How do they come up with this stuff?
I don't know. But a lot of people are not looking forward to that movie. I am. I'm one of them. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pulling for that movie.
I like
really
Batman Year One. You know, I'll see. I just think it's so weird that you would create a Batman movie, a new Batman, and it's completely disconnected from everything that you're doing and building here.
They did the same thing with Joker, with Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. It's like supposed to be an
made $1 billion.
Story.
This should be your Joker now.
They did the same thing with Joker, and I think at DC Fandom, they said that with the Flash movie, they're going to try and tie in every single DC movie, except for Zack Snyder's because they really don't like him. They're going to try and tie in everything.
But Ezra Miller is so dislikable. I don't know that I could watch that movie. He was the worst Flash I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Who was he? He wasn't Wally West. He wasn't Barry Allen. He's not even Bart Allen. Who the hell was that?
I don't know.
It was Ezra Miller as Flash.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy, even though the show is just in a horrible state right now. I did love
the first 3 seasons.
The first 3 seasons are fantastic, but I do enjoy Grant Gustin's version of Barry Allen more than I do Ezra Miller for sure. But they're supposed to tie in like all the movies that have come out with this new Flash movie because they're supposed to introduce the multiverse and everything like that, or like all the worlds and everything. So we'll see, because it is confusing for audiences, especially if they're just kind of like, well, where does he fit in chronologically with all the movies that are coming out? Is Ben Affleck still going to be Batman? What is going on with Robert Pattinson's Batman? So I don't know.
Just building on what you were saying, I do think it's a missed opportunity because what's there to get excited about in the MCU right now? The Eternals? Shang-Chi? Get out of here. The next exciting movie is Doctor Strange, and that's a ways off.
Yeah, that's a ways off. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I've seen every MCU film in theaters, although I didn't pay for Captain Marvel.
So that on the plane.
Did I?
Yeah, I paid for another movie and went into Captain Marvel. But
I didn't do that.
I was like, look, the theater's getting the money. That's all I care about. I'm not handing them any money for this because I think I know what this is. I think it's a lie, and they bridged it in between these 2 films to try and make it seem like it matters, but it really doesn't. Yeah. And it didn't. It had the same problem for me as the DC Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. The first big problem for me with the story is when you front load the audience with all the information. Now we're sitting bored waiting for the character to catch up to us. And that was like the first big problem I had with Captain Marvel. So, but I've seen every other MCU movie in the theaters. I don't feel like I'm going to go see Shang-Chi. I definitely have no interest in Eternals. Doctor Strange is the first one that has the chance to get me back and get my dollars.
Mm-hmm. The way MCU writing is right now, because I've been, I watch Friday Night Tights, and they talk about WandaVision, they talked about Loki, they talked about
Winter Soldier.
Thank you. I didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. I watched a couple of episodes, but I was just kind of keeping up with the shows a little bit, sort of having them on in the background just so I can know what they're talking about, because I enjoy that show. But the way the writing is right now with the MCU, and they're just making it feel like the first 3 phases of Marvel it didn't matter anymore. We're going in this whole new direction, get on or get off. I'm pretty much getting off because, especially with Loki, I mean, just nothing has stakes anymore. There's no stakes. With WandaVision, there's no repercussions for what she did. She just kind of left.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them. Giving them, you mean giving them their freedom back? Like not enslaving them and making them dance to my tune? They should be really thankful that I gave them that back. Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. Like there's no, there aren't any consequences for anything anymore. And that's actually something that I have a lot of problems with. It's something that I had a problem with the Wonder Woman 84 movie. The fact that there weren't any consequences. Like, what is going on? Oh, okay, he's reunited with his son.
Man, you should watch kids shows. There's even in Alvin and the Chipmunks, they can do everything, lie to Dave, and break everything in the world. They never get caught anymore.
Yeah,
what's going on here? I can't have my kid seeing this. He's going to think he's getting away with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, you can do the worst thing, but as long as you reform and you're a little better now,
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We won't hold you accountable for your actions. It's just like turning all of these villains into, I don't know, let's give them a conscience at the end, so that way there aren't any repercussions for them. It's just, it makes no sense to me. The Loki show is, I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was awful. The best part of the Loki show was when they introduced what is it? The older Loki, the original.
Richard Grant, yeah, he was.
Yes, but thank you. Yeah, that's the best part of the Loki show. That and the alligator Loki. I enjoyed alligator Loki, but
I'd watch an alligator Loki show.
I'd watch an alligator Loki show.
Him and Richard Grant just tripping around the universe. I'll watch that show. Give me that.
Yeah, that's the best part of the Loki show. I didn't enjoy the Loki show. There's only so much that Tom Hiddleston can do. You know, you need good writers. You need good writers, and that's just not the Loki show. They're trying to undo everything that the men did. The men helped to achieve in the first 3 phases of Marvel, and pretend like these new accomplishments or are their own. You know, it's just so dumb, and that's why I say if the Marvel fans now are kind of sick and tired of what Marvel has become, and there's like a branch movie between Marvel fans and DC fans, I think that this movie is it.
Absolutely. We are coming to the end of the time. I'm sorry, Aaron. I know you've got a.
Oh no, that's okay.
You gave us an end time here, so I want to say I enjoyed this. Not my favorite DCEU movie, but it's certainly better than the original. It's enjoyable. It definitely feels like Guardians of the Galaxy with blood and guts and lots of cursing and very raunchy jokes. So for me, it was enjoyable. Sounds like everybody else had a good time as well. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you come back and we can talk movies or comic books again. Do you have any final words about The Suicide Squad from James Gunn?
I would definitely give it a 7 out of 10. Not my favorite movie, but it's a nice break from everything else that's coming out.
Absolutely. Aaron, do you have any final words?
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I think it's a really good effort, and a lot of good performances, and James Gunn really got the best out of everybody that was cast. Steph, plug your channel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and on Twitch as well, all at the same My Nerdy Home.